Welcome, my Facebook family. Thank you so much for joining me one more time. This is Breakthrough. I'm Sharon, and on Breakthrough, I share tips, tools, and insights as for life, basically. How to help you live and deal with the issues of life. And this is the girl who stuttered so badly from childhood into adulthood that I couldn't even enunciate my name. Yet, here I am. I'm speaking to you. And the funny thing about me not being able to speak was I couldn't enunciate S's and W's. Can you imagine? My name is Sharon, and it starts with S. And I'll be saying something like, my name is and I couldn't enunciate S's, and W's would be like, what, and it was just so difficult. Anyhow, before we continue, I would like you to, 1, give me some love, 2, share some hearts, and 3, if I say something that is impactful to you, write me a comment. Let me know that I'm reaching you. And don't forget to share it. Let's share the good news with someone you care about. So what about my experience that is going to be impactful to you and your life? Well, when you consider that I was bullied, I was abused, I was neglected, I was rejected, I had no friends from elementary school to high school, none, zero, zilch, nada. I tell people I'd never go to a high school reunion, ever, any type of reunion for that, well, maybe college. But my point is, I had no friends. And if you can imagine growing up without any friends at all, it's a really, really difficult thing. But I made it through. Now, I remember also having the answers to questions in class, and I'll keep my hands up, I'll raise my hands. My teacher never called on me because I took too long to respond. So that type of rejection makes you feel like, well, what you have to say doesn't matter. Anyhow, I moved from there to being the president of several different communication and leadership development organizations, including my own. And while I worked on Wall Street, I managed the operations of over 500 people. That was phenomenal because when I really looked back at my life at that point and said, wow, I can't believe that I'm doing this. I'm managing the operations of over 500 people. And I was speaking to executives and staff members. I was involved in training and development as well. And I was like, how did I get here? And then when I remembered the things I went through, I did to get to that point, it made me realize that we can all do, grow, and become more than we think that we can be. So I am encouraging you as I share with you. I hope you get tips, tools, and use some of my insights to help change your own life. One of the things I didn't mention last week was that I was also the host of an hour-long call-in talk show. Can you imagine someone who couldn't speak being like leading a live on radio, both in Cleveland and New York, leading a live call-in talk show? That was crazy. But again, it made me realize that no matter who we are, what we have been through, that there's hope for us, that we can move beyond who we think we are and do great things in life. Now, again, breakthrough is all about leading with passion and purpose. It's deliberately influencing people with a spirit of influence. It's not a one and done thing. It's not. It's a consistent, intentional, deliberate struggle for greatness and excellence. It's reaching beyond our selfish needs to become who we are or were created to be, and to be able to inspire someone else to become who they were created to be as well. How did I move from stuttering to training? And if you listen to me closely, you'd realize that sometimes I stutter on some words sometimes. So it just goes to show you that yes, I did have an issue, but I continually work to improve who I am, to improve my speech, and to do it without stuttering. So again, you ask, how did I get from stuttering to training and speaking and motivating others? I'll tell you, I decided to challenge God. I don't know who or what you believe, but yes, I told God, God, if you are really God and if you made me, then you can heal me. After all, when you think about it, Ford, BMW, Lincoln, any vehicle you can think of, if they're broken and you take it back to their manufacturer, they fix it. They don't fix it because they like you. They fix it because their name is stamped on that vehicle. Fixing it is good public relations for them. They don't want people to be saying, well, this vehicle was broken, you shouldn't buy it. No, they fix it because they know that their name is stamped on that vehicle and they stand behind the warranty. They stand behind the ability to, for their vehicle to operate the way it should, basically. So my logic was, if cars can be taken back to their manufacturers and they fix them, then okay, if my creator created me, then I'm sure he has spare parts. So I went back to him and I said, God, I need your help. I need you to heal me. And eventually he did. It wasn't overnight. I remember crying out to God many nights and wondering, when are you going to heal me? And he didn't give me an answer, by the way. He just kept saying, well, I felt that if I kept doing the things I was doing, like practicing, that I would like practicing to enunciate words. I didn't tell you this before, but I literally used to read the Bible, not because I wanted to learn about it, although eventually it turned into me reading because I wanted to learn, but I was literally reading the Bible to learn how to enunciate words. Can you imagine? I read the Bible to learn how to enunciate words. I read the dictionary to learn how to enunciate words. I decided to do something about what I was going through. I wanted to get better. I didn't want to be the way I was. Anyhow, I am here today because I didn't give up on me. In the Bible, it talks about the fact that if you ask anything in the name, in the Son of God, Jesus' name, that God will do it. So as I kept asking, I'm saying, okay, God, you said if I ask, you'll do it. And I kept asking and I kept asking until he answered me. I believe that he had the ability to heal me, and he did. I've learned that God doesn't do things just for our personal selfish reasons. He does it to accomplish his purpose. He does it to allow us, through the challenges we have gone through, to be able to impact and change lives. And yes, he protects his good name, as any good car manufacturer, any good company does. They protect their name by fixing whatever is broken so that it can accomplish its purpose. So that's my story as to how I got to where I am today. How did I move again from stuttering to training, speaking about breakthrough without stuttering? I'll tell you, I believe that God can heal me. I believe that in healing me, he'll allow me to speak to you today without stuttering. I believe that he's put me here to tell you that no matter what you think is broken in you or what you think is wrong with you, that he can fix you or use you just the way you are, with all that you've been through, to impact lives and accomplish his purpose for your life, and in turn to allow you to help others accomplish their purpose. Nothing is by accident. Now, I'll tell you a true story about a child, a girl. She was told that she'd never be anything in life. She was thrown out at 17, was expected to get pregnant and have many kids, be a single parent with lots of kids. She met a guy who grew up without a father in his life. They had 4 children, and after one of her children was born, she actually had to go to a homeless shelter from the hospital with her newborn. Can you imagine? What are you going through right now? Can you imagine being a mother with a newborn going to a homeless shelter? Your own, at 17 years old, can you remember what you were like then? How insecure and challenging it was for you, one, to be able to be thrown out of your home. But she stood strong. She just believed that if she kept going, keep trying to do the right thing, that she'll eventually succeed. Now, she met this guy who was also from a single parent home, and they got together. Now, according to society, not much was expected of them. Think about it. Based on what society says, single father or no father in the home, guys are supposed to be stealing, robbing, and doing all these crazy things. Listen, you can move beyond expectation. But anyhow, getting back to this young lady's story, they eventually, this young woman and man, they eventually got their own place and had to move to their new apartment on 2 bicycles. Can you imagine moving mattresses and furniture and all your things from one, like riding across town? Think about it, in New York City for that matter, riding across town, riding across Central Park with 2 bicycles. That's crazy. Imagine, think about it. Really put yourself in their situation. It's crazy, but they did it. They got another place, but guess what? They got that place and then they moved. They thought, okay, we're moving to a better place, more space for our kids and so on. But guess what? They got evicted from that place. Evicted. 3 young kids being evicted. Things thrown out on the street. People in the neighborhood running, taking their things and running away with it. Think about it. No place to go with 3 young kids. What did they do? Well, they picked up what they could and they stayed with a friend for a while, and before you know it, they had their own place again. Now, that's not the end of the story. What I have found in that is they didn't give up, no matter what. It wasn't just one of them. No. They decided, as parents of these kids, we're going to stick it out. We're going to make something of our lives. So they got their things. Their children moved to this friend's house. Eventually, they both got their own place, trained as CNAs, worked for 8 years, juggling work, kids, home, and every other, and schoolwork. And he eventually went to college. She worked hard, took care of the home front, took care of the kids. Eventually they got married. He was certified as a mechanic, I believe, established a car dealership. They struggled through, and together, despite all the challenges that they had been through, despite general statistics that said that they should not have made it, they eventually became a well-rounded, settled couple. But that wasn't all. She wanted to go to nursing school. After all, he had now graduated from college, and she figured being a CNA, next step is nursing. But instead, she decided to start a home care agency. Now, she had no clue what she was doing. She started this agency and for 4 months did research and eventually registered the agency, and it took another year to find clients and get Medicare and Medicaid certified. I know it's a process to get that. She kept being rejected. Fill this out. You missed this. You should sign this. You need to get this. Eventually, she got state certified. And months again to get clients in that Medicaid system. No one was willing to help her. It took like 2 years, I guess, to get everything established and settled. But her passion and her love for the elderly, the frail, and those who are less able to take care of themselves, and her passion to learn, change, grow, and be transformed pushed her to the place where she was able to birth this amazing agency called Compassionate Hearts Home Care Agency. Now it's a premier home care agency in southwestern PA. And this is, if you can see, is one of her brochures, Compassionate Hearts Home Care Agency. How did that happen? Today, those 2 people, they own a 5,000 square foot house. 5,000. They have hired, or just about hired, close to 100 people, and they're about to hire many, many more. Now, I've got to remind you of this. You cannot put people in boxes. You cannot determine or measure your future success based on your or someone else's past. Don't count anyone out, because guess what? If you believe in your heart that you can do something, you can do it. This same couple recently purchased a 5-story historic commercial building. How did they do it? They succeeded because they chose to walk confidently in the direction of their goal with passion and purpose. Every time they failed, they chose to get up again. Every time they fell, they got up. They sacrificed, they struggled, but they didn't give up on themselves or their dreams. When they failed at something, they made a decision to try again and again and again. They took risk. They failed sometimes, and then they were rewarded sometimes. Despite their challenges, their passion for the purpose, for their purpose, and their life's calling to, 1, take care of people, 2, fix vehicles, and 3, help others, despite all that they had been through and all their current challenges, that propelled them into their success. They decided to take step after step in the direction of their goal. And that's where their success came. I am so proud to say that that couple that I just spoke about is my brother and his amazing wife. They didn't let their past circumstances and society's expectation of them determine who they became, or they didn't allow it basically to frame their future. How about you? Are you going through challenges now? Are you dealing with them, or are you just allowing it to beat you down? In everything you do, you have a choice. You decide on the goals, and they could be small goals, one after the other. Every small step you take today can be a goal accomplished tomorrow. This leads me to answer the question I asked you last week. What do you think is your most valuable asset? Now, in asking this question, I had many people respond. So on Wall Street, they'd normally say, well, your investments, having a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds, that's my most valuable asset. Others who do not work on Wall Street may give me responses like, oh, my house, my car, my land, my children, my job, or my job position. And if you're a Christian, most Christians would say, well, God, Jesus, my faith, the Bible. And while all of those could be good, valuable assets, your most valuable asset is your mind. Think about it. You decide who you become, what you believe, when you believe, where you believe, and why you do and believe what you believe. And that all starts in your mind. It's in your mind that you decide how big or how small you'll be. Your mind, this little place here between our head, that's where you decide who you become. You can set big goals or small goals. You will be basically tomorrow who you think you'll be. You cannot become anything greater than what you think that you can become. And our thoughts reside in our mind, right? Our mind has the power to keep us small or to make us big. Our mind has the power to determine what we believe and who we become. It has the power to help us walk the straight and narrow or go and do crazy things. Can I tell you something? My owner's manual tells me, it says that faith and hope starts in the mind. Think about it. It says faith or hope without works or action is dead. It means that you may think of something, but if you do nothing about it, then what's the sense? You just thought of something. It's only when you do something with your thoughts, then does the valuable asset that's what's in your mind truly benefits you. So I'm asking you, what have you decided to do? What I'm asking you now to think about it. Think about something that you can do today, one step that you can take that will impact your life tomorrow. Yes, you gotta know this. You are the product of your beliefs, of your thoughts. What's in your mind, what you think about yourself, what you think about others, it eventually manifests. Where you are today is because you've thought about that place, and you're still there because you're still thinking about being there. If you want to move beyond where you are or beyond who you think you are, you've got to start putting actions with what comes to mind. I know on a daily basis we get thoughts and ideas of things to do, and we don't do anything about it sometimes. Many of us are living in our own self-imposed prisons. Think about it. Self-imposed prisons. Where does that happen? In our minds. We think about the rejection or the hurt or the abuse or the loss or the miscarriage or whatever things we have been through in the past. We allow those to keep us in that self-imposed prison. How do you move beyond that? You've got to move beyond that, and I'll tell you how. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Now unto him, our creator, God, who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think." That tells me something. I'll pause for a minute. That tells me something. One, your asking and your thinking has been put on the same level. Think about it. Now unto him who's able to do above and beyond all that we can ask or think. So if we ask him, it's equivalent to us thinking. And generally, we think before we ask. So we've got to think about what we want, where we want to go, use our most valuable asset, and then ask. We ask God, we ask others. The Bible talks about seek and find, ask and you shall receive, and then knock and it shall be opened unto you. If you put the acronym of each of those letters down, it still equates to ask. Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Are you doing any of those things? You've got to start somewhere. Everything you do physically first comes from what you think mentally. You've got the power to do anything. You don't need anyone's permission to be who God has called you to be. There is such power working in you. The word of God in that same scripture, Ephesians 3:20, "Now unto him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think, according," the rest of that scripture is, "according to the power that works in us." So there's a power that's working in you, and it must come out of you in order to be effective. Greater than any power that can come against you is the power if you choose to use your power against yourself. No one can hold you down except you allow them. I tell people often that we teach people how to treat us. If someone disrespects us and we just accept it as gospel, then they'll continue doing it. But if we set boundaries, and everyone needs boundaries, no one should be just free to come and do and say whatever they want to you. You need to set your own boundaries. When you change your mind on how people treat you, what you do, how you do it, then you change your life. I did. I told you I read the Bible to learn to enunciate words. I read dictionaries to learn to enunciate words. I went to Dale Carnegie Institute stuttering. While I was stuttering, to learn about communication and leadership development skills. I joined Toastmasters for 20-something years, being a member of Toastmasters. I did those things because I knew that me thinking and wanting to speak better, and not doing anything about it, it didn't help me. It's in our minds that our thoughts, our thinking start, but it's what we do with them that truly make them become manifest. So I'm asking you to look at the situations in your life and know that you, in your thoughts and deeds, determine if they're good or bad, and how you look at them also determines the results you get. If we look at every problem we have as a problem, then it really is a problem. But if we see problems as a challenge or problems as an opportunity, then we're able to think, and thoughts will come to us as to how we can deal with them. You are today where your mind brought you. You will be tomorrow where your mind take you. So you've got to make a decision. I remember when I was making $6.50 an hour working and living in New York City. Can you imagine? $6.50. I was planning bills out for like 3 months before I even working for $6.50. And you know that New York being one of the most expensive cities. But I had something on my mirror that says, I have all that's necessary within me to be successful now. That's when I began to realize that, yes, I do have all that's necessary within me to be successful now, because my mind is in me. When I began to realize the power of the mind, that changed how I looked at things. I started to look for another job. Despite challenges, despite all that was going on around me, I knew that in order for me to move from where I was, I had to use my mind and I had to take action. Yes, take action. So again, your most valuable asset is your mind. Your mind, what you think, and then what you do with what you think. When mean or evil thoughts come to mind, you have the authority and opportunity to say, I will not think those those thoughts and fill your mind with good thoughts. When bad things, or you're saying, oh my God, this is not going to work out, that's your choice. You are saying it's not going to, if you say it's not going to work out, then indeed it will not. But if in your mind you decide, well, you know what, I'm doing this and it's going to be successful. Many times we talk ourselves out of success. So I'm encouraging you to determine what you want. Get up and do something about it. If you fall, that's fine. It's okay. The first live broadcast I did for Breakthrough Tips, Tools, and Insights, it was done sideways. So people were looking at the entire video with me sideways. I didn't give up. Here I am again doing it, and I'll do it again and again and again. When I mess up, I will get up, and I will get up again and again and again. So whatever you do for the next week or so until we meet next time, I am encouraging you to understand that your mind is your most valuable asset. Understand it's the most fertile soil in the world. The most fertile soil in the world. What you plant there can grow. So you can choose to plant good things that will reap a good harvest, or you plant bad things and thoughts. It's your choice. Good or bad, big or small. And know this too, that if you choose not to make a decision, indecision is still a decision to just be and stay where you are. Faith starts in your mind. I've never seen someone says, I want to get to know the Lord and not first think it, or I want my life to become better, so let me get to know this Jesus more. I'm yet to see someone come to the knowledge of God without first thinking that I want my life to be better. Some thought that tells them that, yes, I need a savior or something like that. So I'm saying to you that every decision you made from this day, every decision you make from this day on, you need to decide, are you going to be successful, or are you going to hold yourself in a self-imposed prison of your past? Your past, if you keep holding on to it, it obscures your view of the present, and it obscures your view, and not just obscure your view, but it destroys your view in the future. So, final thought, remain optimistic. Think good thoughts. Remember last week I spoke about the fact that when you're green you grow, but when you're ripe you rot. This is a rotten banana, overripe. This is how you get if you choose not to be teachable, not to learn as you go. You need to learn as you go. You need to be teachable. Teachable. Harvard Research has done some research, and it says that our attitude towards anything we do accounts for our success or failure more than anything else. Think about it. Harvard researchers, and I'll read this out to you, the Harvard University Executive Recruiters Research, they concluded that 85% of all successful accomplishments are attributed to people's attitudes. Your attitude can determine your success or failure. This is a chart of what 85% looks like. Your attitude accounts for 85% of your success. And what they found was only 15%, this little area, that little slice of the pizza there, that 15% was people's aptitude, their learning, their knowledge, their degrees. So if you're looking at me and you're saying, well, okay, I'm one of those who don't have a degree, where do I stand? Guess what? You stand in the right place, because if you have a good attitude, you can be successful 85% of the times. And finally, attitude is critical, because 85% of your success is dependent on that, and only 15% is based on your knowledge and learning and so on. But guess what? Your altitude, where you go from there, is determined by the people you have around you. So get rid of toxic people in your life. Think great thoughts. Think thoughts of your future, your good and successful future, and don't just hold on to the pains that you've been through here, or what you've been through in the past, or what you're going through now. When you fall, get up. Remember a place like Compassionate Hearts and how they did. I mean, this couple went through, I hate to say hell, but it felt, I'm sure it felt like hell at the time. But guess what? Now, to have gone through that, and to be now they're in their own house and own company, and now own a building. that takes faith. That takes a positive attitude. And that takes you saying, I will not stay where I'm at. I'm going to get up. I'm going to think thoughts. Again, everything you think of doing first starts here. So even getting up, you're thinking it before you do it. So think good thoughts, think positive thoughts, walk in the direction of your goal. And if you need to write something up on a mirror to help you think positively, you can take my saying, I have all that's necessary within me right now to be successful. Because as long as you can say it, it's because your mind is in its right place. So take a note, whatever inspires you to do great and do wonderful things, do it, because that's what's going to get you to your next level. Thank you for joining me this week for Breakthrough Tips, Tools, and Insights for Life. Join me next Sunday at 7 p.m. right here for Breakthrough Tips, Tools, and Insights for Life.